Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to the next episode of Hashtag Originals. Originals is for the groundbreakers, for real insights, for the professional learning. Today, we have Nisha, who is an experienced client service professional with a demonstrated history of working in the event service industry. Today, we will be discussing about customer service and orientation. But before we start, here is an announcement. The Marketing Soul has a great marketers club which is growing very fast. So those who have not joined, please DM me with the link. We will be happy to onboard you. And link is also available at themarketingsoul.com. So let's initiate the conversation with Nisha. Welcome Nisha to Hashtag Originals. How are you?
I'm good, Sachin. Thank you so much for having me on the show. And I'm really excited. I hope we have an insightful conversation.
Absolutely. Perfect. Taking the first question, majorly I would like to discuss about the customer service or the customer experience.
Mhm.
What is your take on it?
Um, I believe customer service or customer experience, these are like two different experiences altogether. Like when we look at customer service, it is more like, the assistance or the guidance that you're providing to your customer in terms of a product or service. Like, for example, even for customer service, there's a set of skills that is required. Like, firstly, we need to understand what the customer exactly needs, and that is something that customer service needs to understand foremost before they start marketing their product. Next is, to understand about, to have the right product knowledge, like to know in and out about it, and also the patience to explain it to the customer. Like, for example, talking from my own personal experience, around, I think, 75 to 80% of the crowd, when they enter a store, they're not too specific that, yeah, this is what I want. They would be open to it. Like, they would be open if you give them a suggestion, if you listen to what the customer exactly need, and then if you give them a suggestion, they would be open to it. So I think that is, in short, about customer service. But when we look at customer experience, I believe it's like a more broader term. It is something that comes after customer service. Once you have bought a product or service and then you entirely experience it. It's like, how the customer is using the product. Are they using it in the right way? Are they happy? Are they satisfied? Are they not satisfied? So, there are like a lot of emotions also attached to it. So it is like a customer journey altogether, I believe. You're not
Taking
audible.
it, yeah. Taking it for the next follow up with it. So once you are saying, no, it's a broader term, and no, customer experience is more about that. So then, how to convince someone, people for with the customer service that we are having? Because most of the times, no, when I'm been into this experience, it becomes difficult at times. So what is your take for it?
How to convince. So I believe, like I just said, it's very important to know the product in and out. So when you're explaining it to the customer, it is very important to keep the jargons aside. Like, it so happened with me once that I went to get a laptop, and so when the person was explaining it to me, he used all these technical terms that just went above my head, and I was not on the same page as him. So it is very important to keep it simple so that they are also able to understand what you're exactly trying to sell, be it any product, service, anything. It should be in the simple terms. So that is something that's very important, I believe. Apart from that, I think to even emphasize on what is unique about your product. See, basic features like a camera or a microphone. It is something that I think by now all of us know. But what is so unique? What is making it stand out from the other products? That is, that's something that's very important. Also, we could look at. I believe it's very important to also be very natural when you're talking to the customer. You need to build that connect with them, because that's how the customer relationship is built, and that is how they would also maintain loyalty with you. Like, they would come back when you add in your own personal opinion, when you add in your own personal value. It also builds a good customer relationship. So I think with time only all of these things can be built, and that's how they slowly get convinced.
No, I really appreciate your answer on it, and it's really no straight from the heart conversation. No, connecting with the one with the client and the customer. I really loved the answer that you mentioned. Great.
Remember you then. The next time when they come back, they would recollect it. That's why.
That's why. No, in fact, whenever we go to some customer service, and we always try to find out the person whom we have been able to connect the last time, so that it becomes easy for a conversation.
We get comfortable. Yeah, it's very
Yes.
important to make the customer comfortable.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Nisha, since you have a good experience background about the event industry, so we'll start with a very basic question about who is an event manager and what are the qualities required for a great event professional.
Um, I think event management in just like very simple terms, it would just be, somebody who plans, organizes, and executes an entire event. Like it might be from the design team to the setup to operations and to backstage management, everything. Like it's somebody who does all of it in all together, who coordinates everything. So I believe some of the qualities which even I developed with time working in the event management field was very important thing is to understand the client brief, to understand what the client exactly needs, because you what the client is telling you and what you're taking it, that has to be the same thing, to understand what they exactly want. And to also cater their needs in the speculated budget. When it comes to event management, budget is very important. So what the client needs has to be done within their budget. So how we can cater to their needs within that particular budget, it is also a good factor. Then apart from that, yeah, another important thing would also be that how you can market your ideas. See, there are many event management companies out there, and all of them have good ideas. But how you can market your ideas in the best way possible is what that actually takes the entire ball game. It's like actually the entire ball game itself. So yeah, I think these are like some of the major characteristics. Apart from that, it's very good to be a team player than a team leader, because in event management you're coordinating with different teams like operations, design, creative, client servicing, customer service, and all these things. So you will be operating with so many teams. So it's very important to be a team player than a team leader. So I think these are some of the qualities that's just should be there in an event manager.
No, you are absolutely right, and this team management skill is absolutely very much necessary. I believe what you are suggesting, it's much required. Great. So there is another aspect in the event industry is about visual communication, right?
Right.
So what is that? No, and what is the importance of it?
Okay. Um, I think as per the digital era that is going on right now, it is how we visual communication is nothing but how we communicate our ideas graphically, because in the business world today, the brand wants to communicate the ideas out there. It wants to tell every brand, they want to tell out their brand story, but it's just how you communicate. If you're going to verbally tell it, or if you're going to write it down in a post, not everybody would just sit and read it. And that's where, for example, if even if when we look at videos, if we would have noticed, every brand they try to get an emotional connect in their videos. That is only because when when people like us, when common people like us, when we look at it, we connect to it, so it just stays in our mind. We remember it. Oh, yeah, I saw Asian Paints so video. It was like that. So we somehow unconsciously it's just there in our minds. So that is how brand tries to create an impression, and all of this eventually comes only by visual communication, because all of this is graphics, right? So yeah, I think that's like a very important factor in the entire marketing area, like how we visually communicate our brand, how we try to build our brand story, how we try to retain our brand in the customer's mind. Although, when we look at another thing, whenever we go for client pitches or anything, we always go with a presentation. That is because we want to show it out there. We want to, entirely make our client visualize our event or our pitch. So that is where it's visual communication in short. I would say it's like, more information in less time, because we that's what we try to do.
So what are the attributes we should have in the visual communication?
What are the attributes?
Attributes. It
I
means
think it's very, yeah.
yeah, carry on, carry on.
So I think emotional, yeah, emotion, that one major thing is the emotional connect. Like, you need to have the, just like how I said, we need to build an emotional connect with the common people. That's how they will also relate to it. And also to understand who's our target audience, what is my brand, and who's my target audience, to accordingly, make the plan, to accordingly think what is, like, for example, when we are scrolling through Facebook or Instagram, on an average we only spend 3 to 6 seconds on every post. So how we can communicate in that particular time, how we can visually communicate via our post. If you will be writing like 10 lines on your post, not everybody would write, wait down, read it. But if you're going to put in an image that is, visually attractive to the person whoever is seeing it, then it would just retain on their mind. They would also be interested in knowing, oh yeah, what is this, let me read the caption. So it's like that.
That's right. That's right. And what you have learned till now in your corporate life, because the kind of experience that you have gathered, it's quite diversified. So, what are your learnings? Now, I'm sure community members would like to take a lot of learnings from this question and the answer that you will say.
Um, so as soon as I stepped into the corporate life, the first thing which I realized was how important practical knowledge is. Like, we might do an MBA or PhD or anything. Like, we might study a lot, read books. But why is practical knowledge so important? Because, when you go out there on the field, what you learn, that is something that nobody else can teach you. Even if you read a lot of books, but what you learn on the field, what you learn by yourself, that is something that nobody can teach you. And that is why corporate knowledge, being in a corporate is so important, because you get that experience, you learn from your experience, you grow, you slowly grow in the corporate world. Also, when we look at other aspects, it could also be like, it's very important in the corporate world to build connections, because, in the marketing world, having different perspectives is marketing is all about having different perspectives. There's no certain way of marketing, there's no hard and fast rule of marketing, there's no jargon as such. But then, how you build connections, you make trustworthy connections, you meet different people, you get to know about their company, their roles. So that is also an important factor. And also something that I have also seen, that failure we would always encounter in our career. Like, it's just something that it is just there. So how we can not concentrate on why, not concentrate on how we failed, but to as to why we failed, and how can we grow ahead, because that is something that would make us more successful. It is like, learning from your experiences, learning from your surroundings, grasping as much as you can. And, all of those things, I believe these are like some of the major things that I have learned in my corporate life.
So, what are two, three things you would suggest to the freshers who would be just starting their career they should not do?
They should not do. Okay. Um I think that when they start off, it is, they should just look at the job description and what it would be adding to your life, to your career, and definitely not on the salary, because what a when you start off, it's your first job is always very important. What it teaches you, not just in terms of the knowledge, but also it adds a lot of value to your personal life. Once you start a career, you just eventually become very confident as a person, not just at your workplace, but even at your home or wherever. You just start growing as a person. So we need to choose the right job, to choose something that we like. because it should not be like, oh, I have to go to a work today, but it should be like, I have to work today. It's, that is the enthusiasm that we need when we are out there working. You need to choose a job of that type. And something that I noticed as a fresher was also like to grasp every opportunity that comes to you, to not leave anything, to, take everything possible, whatever comes to you. It's very important to take initiatives at work. Like when I started off, I was very hesitant at work. Like, I would be very hesitant to ask any questions like, why is this happening? What is this? And all of that. But you are curious and you have to keep asking questions, because if we don't ask questions, you will not learn. It's okay even if it's stupid. You have just started it off. You will learn only when we go out there, only when we ask questions is how we learn. So this is something that's very important, to keep asking questions, to grasp every opportunity, to learn from our colleagues, because like I said, everybody has a different perspective, they have a different point of view. So to learn from them, to be open, like to just understand, okay, so this is my take, so what is your take, to understand different things. And I believe, lastly, it is also to never give up. Like it is, we will see many ups and downs in our career. There will be times where we feel demotivated, where we feel like, why is this not working out? But no, we should not give up. We will learn, and that's how we will keep growing in our career. We have to be that constant. We have to keep putting in the same amount of hard work every single day, because that's how we'll keep growing in this field.
And what would be your tips to the fresher who will just start their career in this COVID times?
In this COVID times, I think when now that they are starting in the COVID times, it would mostly be digital. So I believe to have the same enthusiasm what they would have if they were out there. To not because when we are at homes, we just tend to get lethargic. So not be that kind, to not have that mindset, to learn as much as we can, and not just apart from our work, to even learn externally, maybe some course, or maybe some new terms that they're hearing at their workplace, to also connect with people. Because I mean, this is something even I'm facing. It's difficult to connect with people online, but it's okay. I think this is the new normal that we all have to accept in our lives. We don't know when the pandemic will end. So to connect with people, to make the right amount of connections, to talk to them, to understand what is their roles in the company, what are they doing, what are their aspirations. I think every day to keep growing, to not leave that enthusiasm, and to learn something new every single day.
That's I really love the answer you mentioned, and that's how the one person should have a this freshers in fact should have a purview of how to take their life ahead or how to take their experience ahead in the COVID times. I appreciate that. Finally, coming to an end of our conversation, what are your thoughts on the marketing solar community initiatives?
Sachin, personally, I feel this is an amazing initiative, because we as marketers, we would love to know what is others' experiences in the same field. Like right now, what I have shared, but if you talk to another marketer, they would have another perspective. And I would definitely, I have watched all of the videos on your channel, and I would definitely love to know what each and every single person is thinking, and what is their perspective and what is their point of view, because that way I'm learning more things, I'm understanding, oh, so this can be done that way as well. So I'm understanding new things. So it's an amazing initiative, and I would definitely recommend all the aspiring marketeers out there to join the community, because I would love to actively participate in the community, and to give in and to learn, most importantly to learn and grow here as much as we can. This is something that's a very different initiative, something I've come across for the first time. So I would say it's like really nice, and all the very best to this thing.
Thank you. Thank you, Nisha, for this lovely and crispy conversation that we had, full of knowledge, full of points, the recommending points from Nisha we have jot down. And I'm sure those who will be watching the videos will have a new aspect of learning, as Nisha rightly mentioned. So with this, Nisha, thank you so much for being with us on this show. And pleasure is all mine. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Sachin. Thank you so much for having me over here. I loved sharing my thoughts.
Thank you.